Hey guys, welcome back to VTrends. We are back with yet another video, and this video is gonna be all about grade improvement. We're gonna be talking about four major things in this video, which is one, what is grade improvement? Two is that how many people actually get an S grade? Three is we're gonna be talking about the importance of class average. We've come across this word class average so many times. So we're going to be talking about the importance of class average. Last but not the least is we're going to be discussing about how to calculate CGPA. So to know all of this, stay tuned. So now let's move on to our first discussion, which is what is grade improvement. For example, take that your grades for a particular subject just came out, and you're going through your grades, and then you notice that there is this one particular subject in which your grade is actually really bad, and you would want to definitely improve it if you would have gotten a second chance. So grade improvement is all about this second chance. What exactly happens in grade improvement is that the particular subject that you've chosen for grade improvement, you will have to take up that course all over again, like basically doing it for the second time. So that means that you will have to do all the quizzes, attend all the classes, submit all your digital assignments, give all the exams, which is CAT 1, CAT 2, FAT, everything. So that is what grade improvement is. Now, another important thing about grade improvement, like this is a requirement and which is very important. This is that in order to take up a course for grade improvement, you need to pay 6,000 rupees. This cost actually remains constant. It doesn't matter if you wanna go for a 4 credit course or a 1 credit course, you still need to pay 6,000 rupees. So this is where you get to know the importance of a 1 credit course. Another important thing about grade improvement is that you cannot take up courses for grade improvement in semesters like summer semester or a weekend semester. You have to take them up in the main semesters like the winter semester or the fall semester. One last thing is that to take up courses, it is most advisable to take up courses for grade improvement if your grade is less than C grade. Like most people actually take only when their grade is below C grade, because you have to pay like 6,000 rupees, and that's a huge amount. So that is all about grade improvement. Moving on to our second discussion, which is how many people actually get an S grade. Now I will be explaining this to you using a graph which you can see on the screen. As you can see, this graph is in the shape of a mountain, and this graph is basically divided into many parts, and each part denotes a particular grade. Like for say one part denotes S, then A, then B, C, D, and then so on. And in this graph, if you notice, there are three major points in this graph, which is the two lowest points of the graph and one highest point of the graph. So now if you notice that the area under these two lowest points of the graph is very less, and whereas the area under this highest point of the graph is a lot. So this basically denotes that the two areas which are very less, like under the lower region of the graph, this denotes the number of students getting an S grade. So as you can see, the area is very small, so that means that the number of students getting an S grade is also very less. In the other hand, the number of students getting lower grades like D or E, that also is very less. That is what is denoted by the two lowest points of the graph, like the area under them. Now the grade which is denoted, which is under the maximum area of the graph, is B grade. This means that in a class, maximum, like most of the people get B grade compared to the other grades. This is not necessary, but maximum number of people get B grades, and the number of people who get S grades is very less. So now let's take an example. As you can see on the screen, there are marks displayed of 20 students, and VIT follows certain formulas which are dependent upon relative grading in order to assign grades to students. These formulas are displayed on the screen, as you can see, and there are certain things you need to calculate for these formulas, which is mean, standard deviation, double of standard deviation, half of the standard deviation, and 1.5 into standard deviation. Once you get these values, and these values can be calculated with the marks which are obtained by all the students. So once you get all these values, it becomes very easy to get the range for how many people will get S grade, how many people will get A grade, B grade, C grade, and so on. So now in this particular example, as you can see, of 20 students, the first thing which is done is we have calculated the sum. That is the first step. Second is to calculate the mean, and then after that you need to calculate the standard deviation, then half of standard deviation, then double of standard deviation, and then 1.5 into standard deviation. Once you have these values, you just put them in the formulas, and that will give you the number of students who are getting different grades. And as you can see, in this particular class of 20 students, there are very less people who have scored an S grade, and if you see, maximum of the students have scored a B grade or like a C grade. So that's how the grades work. That's all about how the grades work. So I hope you guys have understood the use of mean and standard deviation, and how the grades are actually assigned to students. So now after this, we will be talking about a very real life example, and I'm pretty sure you guys, while checking your grades, have seen these particular screenshots which are available on the screen. And I hope that now whenever you check your VTOP for your grades, I hope that you will actually understand the entire working behind it. So now, as you can see on the screen, there is an example of the subject Computer Architecture and Organization, which is a 3-credit course, and in this the class strength is 72. So now the marks of these 72 people, by using the marks of these 72 students, we calculated the mean and the standard deviation, and when we know the standard deviation, we can calculate double of standard deviation, half of the standard deviation, and so on. Now, using those values, we put them in the formula that we have discussed before, which VIT uses in order to assign grades relatively. By using those formulas, in this example, we get that the number of students who have scored more than or equal to 81 marks get a S grade, and the number of students who have scored between 77 and 81 marks get an A grade, and so on. Now, second example is of Data Structures and Algorithms, which is a 4-credit course. In this, the class strength is 70, and again, we have calculated the mean and standard deviation, and with this we get the number of students who have scored more than or equal to 83 marks get an S grade, and then the number of students who have scored more than 73 and less than 83 get an A grade, and so on. In the last example, we have Statistics for Engineers. This is also a 4-credit course, and the class strength in this is 63, and we have gotten the mean and the standard deviation, and we have gotten the number of students who can get S grade. So basically, the students who have scored equal to or above 90 marks can get an S grade in this subject, and the students who have scored between 85 and 90 can get an A grade, and so on. So yeah, this is how the grading system works, and I hope you guys can actually understand the working behind this whenever you open your VTOP and check your grades next time. Let's move on to our third point, which is the importance of class average. Like, we come across this word class average so many times. So like, what is exactly the importance of this? For example, take that your class average is very low. That basically means that the chances of you scoring an S grade is really high, if you get marks which are above the class average. This also means that if your class average is really low, it is possible for you to get an S grade even with 85 marks. That is amazing, right? But this works the other way around as well. If your class average is really high, it is possible for you to get a B grade with 94 marks, and that has happened. Like 94 marks is amazing, right? But still, you can get a B grade even with 94 marks. That just means that students who've scored, only 99 or 100 get an S grade. So that is how, class average is actually very important. So now let's move on to our last but not the least discussion, which is how to calculate CGPA. Now, for example, take that you are in your second year. That means that you have completed your first year, which means that you have completed your first and your second semester. So to calculate your CGPA by the end of first year, all you have to do is multiply your GPA of first semester with the number of credits that you took in the first semester, and add it to the GPA of your second semester with the number of credits that you took in the second semester. You basically add these two values and divide them by the total number of credits that you took in your first and second semesters. So this is what you basically do for calculating your CGPA for more than 2 semesters also. Like, you just keep on adding the product of GPA and your number of credits in that particular semester, and divide it by the total number of credits that you've taken till now. That's it. So that's it. That's how you calculate your CGPA. And also guys, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope all your questions are answered. But if they're not, it's alright, don't worry. Feel free to DM us on our Instagram handle, which is VTrends, and don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, which is VTrends everywhere again. And thank you for watching guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye.